Is the Des Moines Public School District not complying with open meetings laws? We're going to talk with Graham Gillette about that today. Also, we're going to talk about the $100,000, actually $400,000, your taxes in Des Moines are going to the Chamber of Commerce. Wondering whether that's a good idea in a tough budget time. And also, Max Wellman is going to join us later in the program. Welcome back to Des Moines, Max. We look forward to talking with you as well.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Ed Fallon here, folks. Gateway Market and Cafe is your locally owned source for specialty groceries. Enjoy chef-crafted, prepared foods, artisan baked goods, organic produce, specialty cheeses, and hand-selected wines and craft beer. Visit the lively cafe for breakfast, lunch, or dinner 7 days a week. Gateway Market is centrally located on the corner of Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway and Woodland Ave. Stop by or visit www.gatewaymarket.com for more details. That's Gateway Market, folks. Good food, great community.
This moment of silence brought to you by Tally's Restaurant Bar and Catering, home of Des Moines' premier rooftop dining experience. Located in the heart of Beaverdale, Tally's offers speedy and affordable rooftop lunch, catering for events both large and small, innovative cuisine, as well as vegetarian and gluten-free menus. Come to Tally's for live music, dry-aged steaks, Sunday brunch, and all-you-can-eat ribs every Monday night. Tally's Restaurant Bar and Catering at 2712 Beaver Avenue. Call 279-2067. That's 279-2067.
Times are tough, and most people are just trying to make their cars last a little bit longer. That's why you should know about Sargent's Garage in Des Moines. You can trust Sargent's to make the right diagnosis and give you a fair price. Whether it's a routine oil change or a major repair, Sargent's always does outstanding work. So don't give up on that old car just yet. Call Sargent's Garage at 246-8149. That's 246-8149 for Sargent's Garage. Open Sesame is Des Moines' premier Lebanese cafe. This month, Open Sesame is offering an unbeatable lunch special on Monday and Tuesdays. Mention the Fallon Forum when you order anything on Open Sesame's delicious lunch menu and get the second item for half price. That's right, buy one, get one for half price. Open Sesame's pita wraps, salads, soup, and mouth-watering Mideastern specialties will have you and your dining partner coming back again and again. Open Sesame at 313 East Locust Street in Des Moines' historic East Village.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Hey folks, welcome to the Fallon Forum today. We're broadcasting live from the Webcast One studio here in the Skywalk. We are across from Palmer's Deli. Stop by and wave. I won't be able to see you, but you can wave at me. And imagine that if I did see you, I would be waving at you. I want to thank Brother Trucker. That's their tune kicking the show off as always. Their tune Downtown. I also want to thank the Physicians for Social Responsibility and the Iowa chapter of the Sierra Club. And all of our business sponsors. This segment of the program in particular is brought to you by Gateway Market at Woodland and M.L. King in downtown Des Moines, actually in the Sherman Hill neighborhood, on the edge of downtown Des Moines. A fantastic pumpkin and gourd display out in front of Gateway Market right now. But don't just stop there and stare at the beautiful pumpkin display. Go inside. They've got 200 varieties of cheese. They've got lots of local stuff. They've got a wonderful cafe. They do catering as well. You should definitely check out Gateway Market. Keep your money local. Support a local business that puts its heart and soul back into the community, as opposed to some chain who pumps it to some distant corporate headquarters out of state. That's Gateway Market in the Sherman Hill neighborhood at Woodland and M.L. King. With me, who's this guy? This is Graham Gillette. He's no stranger to this program and no stranger to anybody in Des Moines who's paying attention. And right now we're paying very much attention, a lot of things to pay attention to, but the Des Moines Public Schools came under a lot of heat earlier this year with the way they handled the dismissal, shall I say, of then Superintendent Nancy Sebring. And you're unhappy with the extent to which they have withheld public information, so you and the ACLU, and perhaps some other players that I'm not aware of, have filed a lawsuit. Tell us about that.
Let me explain it to you. It's really quite simple. On and around about May 9th, the school district, the school board in particular, became aware of these emails that we've all heard a little too much about that Nancy Sebring sent back and forth using her district computer on her district time, etc., with her lover and others. And I don't want to talk about those personal details. We've all heard enough of them, and they're really not.
Yeah, and I will say I was disappointed that the Register thought it was appropriate to even publish those, and
that's a sad
I've never even
story.
read a single one of them.
That's a sad story, and I don't even want to comment on that. But there were some revealing things in that email, in those emails about the board's oversight, or should I say the lack of board oversight, and how they let the superintendent call all the shots in this district. The superintendent was basically directing the school board as opposed to the other way around.
Is that unusual, though? I mean,
Unfortunately, it's not unusual. Yeah. But I think it may have gotten worse during the Sebring tenure than it had previously. But putting all that aside, on or out about May 9th, they discovered these emails. The board president and the vice president confronted the superintendent, and the board president at the time, Terry Caldwell Johnson, said that within moments of confronting her with these emails, the superintendent said she would resign. She did resign late in the evening on May 9th, but the school board had a meeting on May 10th in which they invoked, because both the superintendent and the assistant superintendent, who's now the acting, had requested a closed meeting, which is proper under law if a person is being evaluated for hiring or firing or what have you, to have a closed meeting.
So you're no trouble with that? Except
for the fact that Nancy Sebring had resigned. She was not being considered for a promotion. She wasn't being considered for a position. And
So she had already submitted her resignation?
Correct. Okay. Beforehand.
All right.
And
small point, but why is it important?
It's very important because after the meeting, Ms. Caldwell Johnson said, to a point of fact, they did not discuss the discharge of Nancy Sebring. They did not discuss her performance. They simply discussed her speeding up her resignation, which we find out 3 weeks later was untrue. The truth was they found these emails and they had confronted her, and she had said to resign.
So the district did release some emails
3 weeks later
that confirmed that there were other things being discussed at that meeting.
Correct.
Which would have required it to be a public meeting.
And that's the point. I mean, yes, this is an uncomfortable situation. It's a delicate situation. Dicey, pick your word. The fact of the matter is, the only way that a board can go into a closed session is to protect, the needless harm of an individual who's being considered under these very limited uses under the law. They didn't do that. And I suspect strongly, especially the way this thing spun out in the weeks that followed, that what the board did was they got behind closed doors and discussed how they were going to handle the political fallout of this situation. That is highly inappropriate. And all I'm asking, as a citizen, you only have one, I challenged the school board on this. The response from the district was, no, we did things properly. So I suspect they didn't. They say they did. The only avenue I have is to go to the court and ask them to review the recording.
So, okay, but why the school district has been willing to release quite a few emails,
but not the recording of the meeting.
Okay,
and that's what I'm really interested in.
Is that the only one that you're really pursuing?
At this point, that's the only thing I'm pursuing.
And their argument is it was a closed meeting. We were legitimate in having it be closed.
Correct.
But there are actual emails released from later than that date that confirmed that it was not about the content that the board originally indicated. Well, in their comments that
they made afterwards. I mean, the fact that the way they talked about this meeting afterwards. I mean, one of the comments that the board president made was, yeah, we didn't talk about the discharge. We didn't talk about all these things. It's just a procedural thing that for us to go in a closed meeting. And that, Ed, is my problem. I think that public bodies in Iowa go into closed session, by and large, far too often. And they do so because they feel like it's a procedural thing and it's common practice and it's inappropriate and illegal.
And it increases as well. It's getting worse.
That's right.
It's happening more and more often.
And this example and this case, asking the judge to review it, that is really what drives this. Yes, I'm concerned about the Des Moines School Board, but I'm concerned about the broader picture, and that is how public bodies in Iowa function. And I frankly think that they disregard the public meeting law.
So where are we at with this lawsuit right now?
Well, we filed it on September 24th. The school district has 30 days to respond. You know much more about being in court than I do.
30? I thought it was 20.
I don't remember. Maybe it was. Yeah. But they have a number of days to respond.
20,
so
I believe.
We're waiting for that.
Okay.
I expect that they could say that they aren't going to challenge the.
Okay.
But they're not going to do that.
So you've got the ACLU on your side.
Yeah, in my discussions about this, because I immediately following the May 10th meeting and really through that first part of June and into June, I had a back and forth with the school district on getting certain emails, but also on this meeting. And their response was always, "We're not going to release the recordings." I had a number of discussions with the folks at the ACLU. They have a real interest in open meetings and public records. They offered to represent me in this case, and I accepted.
Okay, yeah, and I imagine the Des Moines Register, who have been just drooling over this story, and the parts that you and I agree should be kind of like put behind us. But I imagine that they're pretty hungry for the case to move forward as well.
Yeah, I would think so. But that was kind of one of the things I was disappointed about, is that we, the community and the Register and others, got so wrapped up in the salacious parts of these emails that we focused on that, and we didn't focus on the other things. And that, there's a couple of them. There's one I mentioned at the beginning of the segment, and that is, I believe we have a school board that was being directed by the superintendent. These emails showed that, this was a heavy-handed manager of the district. That's kind of been overlooked. The way that the board functions, and this particular meeting is an example of the way this board functions, that should not be lost in this effort. And I think, I do a lot of back and forth with the Register, but I think the Register has overlooked that piece. The Register should be the one that carries this lawsuit, not some citizen in Des Moines.
Right. So, folks, if you'd like to join the conversation, Graham Gillette is with me today. We're talking about the lawsuit filed regarding the Des Moines Public School District's refusal to release information relevant to a meeting that they feel was legitimately closed, and others, including Graham, feel that it should have been open and that the transcription from that meeting should be a public record. We'll see where that goes. If you'd like to join the conversation, you can call in at 244-0077, 244-0077. Toll free, the number is 855-244-0077. And you can email me at fallonforum@gmail.com. That's fallonforum@gmail.com. So, again, beyond concern that government operate in the light of day, and I think that's a very important concern. And I see, again, more and more of that, more and more closed meetings happening. And between my start in the Iowa legislature in '92 and by the time I was done 14 years later, I saw an exponential growth in the number of closed meetings. And they were all disguised under some greater good, of course.
Right.
But it's a problem that's getting worse. Beyond that, I mean, and that's enough reason right there to move forward with your lawsuit, and I commend you for that. But beyond that, are there other concerns that you think need to be brought out in this conversation?
Well, absolutely, and I think that one of the things is, how do we challenge government that we believe is meeting too often in secret and behind closed doors? It's difficult. You have one avenue. I had one option, and that is to go to the courts, which, by my watching of the courts, are a little overloaded these days. There are people taking other people to court for things they said and other things that we won't discuss right now.
Well, yeah.
But
now that's getting personal. And it's okay. We'll talk about that.
I don't,
not right now. We'll talk about it. Though.
There should be a better mechanism for when a member of the public wants to challenge a closed session. The legislature created a new, we call it, the Public Information Board. It's the newest toothless tiger in Iowa. They have no funding. They really have no mandate of what they're supposed to do. In theory, an independent tiger, I like that, in theory, an independent body like that would make a lot of sense, so that a citizen could go to that body and say, "I have this concern," and they would be able to do it. Call it an ethics. Maybe it's similar to an ethics council or what have you, but government is not serious about those things, as demonstrated by the legislature. They created this body that has no power. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Look in government up and down, and you create an entity like a drug czar that has no power, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. So what do you say to the concern that school board members tend to defer to the superintendent? They're the elected officials. They're the one directly accountable to the voters. But I mean, let me try to wear the other hat for a second here. These folks aren't paid a penny, and I've long believed that school board members should be reimbursed for something. So there should be some compensation for the work they put in. I mean, I hear that it's really easy to put in between 10 and 30 hours a week as a school board member.
Been there.
Yeah, I
Sat
know.
on that board.
Is that about right? 10 to 30 hours?
Yeah, and the problem is, the hard part is that it doesn't come in doses that you can manage. Some weeks it may be little, the next week it's going to consume all your time.
Sure.
It's a very difficult job, and I don't mean to belittle the commitment that school board members make. That being said, when you agree to serve on a public board, whether it's a school board, a city council, waterworks, I've done a number of them, but you have a commitment to do the job. I am continually frustrated by the Des Moines School Board in particular. I don't understand these people that are willing to take the job but not do the job. And I think we have a school board that is not willing to do the job.
Isn't part of the problem has been that there's a separate election for the school board.
Correct.
And it's an election that very, very few people participate in. And so you have vested interests that tend to control the outcome.
Absolutely.
And some of these are vested interests that I tend to, align myself with politically. The Teachers Association. I like teachers. I like them to be paid well.
But Ed, in a district the size of Des Moines, when you have 11 or 12,000 people voting, that is a small percentage. I have long advocated. Now, they did lengthen school board terms from 3 years to 4 years, which was a good step.
Yeah.
Which means there's an every other year election as opposed to an annual election, which is good. But where again the legislature fell down on the job is they should have moved those elections to a November election,
I totally
probably
agree.
with the city councils, those off-year elections.
And is there any effort to do that?
I've worked on it for years, and it always hits a dead end at the legislature.
Yeah. And again, it's partly because you've got some powerful interests that don't want to see that
That's exactly why. You've got administrators groups, you've got teachers unions, you've got small, special interests that control that election.
Yeah.
And it does a lot of harm. Voting that first Tuesday in September is about the worst possible time besides, New Year's Day, when you could have an election, especially for school issues. It shouldn't be a standalone election. It should be together. I say the city council election, the off-year election would make a lot of sense. Yeah. But we've yet to get there. As to your point about whether school boards should be paid, that might make a difference. What I can tell you is it doesn't seem to be working real well today, so we probably should start thinking about how we're going to do something different.
Well, it's a big job.
It's a big job. It's a thankless job, frankly.
And most people have to have unless you're retired, you have other employment.
Listen, as a guy that served on the school board, it is a money loser. Yeah. You are going to take time away from your family, your job, what have you, to do the job. You are actually going to lose money.
So how did you find? And I had the same problem at the State House. It was really easy for lawmakers to go to a committee meeting and just nod their heads in agreement with what a staff person from one of the departments or agencies was saying. It was much easier than to try to dig into the detail of the proposal and see if it really made sense. I did that years ago before she became a household name, Ramona Cunningham. I did that with her agency and found, there are problems here, and I brought them to the legislature's attention. But the folks in charge of the Human Services Committee at that time didn't want to hear it. It was too complicated, too much work, too much suspicion that you don't want your state agencies or your departments or your contractors in this case to fall down on the job, to be perceived as misspending public money. But it's hard to do because it requires a lot more work. It requires digging, being a pit bull on issues and questions.
I believe there are plenty of people out there who are willing to do their public service, to serve on boards, to serve in the legislature, to do these jobs. But for whatever reason, the Des Moines School Board rarely attracts people who are willing to do the things you just talked about, to dig in and do the job. I was lectured endlessly by fellow school board members when I was on the school board that we should settle all of our differences before we get to the meeting so that when we sit at the meeting, we present a united front. To me, that is the most ridiculous statement ever made, because democracy is supposed to works best when it is done in the open and the public participates.
You know where else it happens, of course, in partisan caucuses at the State House.
That's probably the worst, slimiest, terrible
Let's
example.
make sure we all go out of this meeting agreeing,
Yeah. Well, and that's wrong. The fact of the matter is I may be a lunatic and I may be dead wrong on my thoughts about how the school board operates, and I used to tell the superintendent this every time we met. The fact of the matter was I wasn't alone. There were people who agreed with what I was saying and the questions I were asking. The best thing, in my view, for the superintendent of the district to do would be to answer those questions, those concerns, prove me wrong if I'm dead wrong. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is if you say that out loud and you say it in the public eye, that kind of concern, that cloak and dagger, the bad things are happening, is going to disappear. When a school board goes into a meeting on May 10th like they did, and there are people like me who think they did it improperly, they need to address it head on.
Right.
And
That
here's
makes
another
sense.
example. This Lincoln High School football coach, the fact that the school board lets this thing fester out there without talking about the issue, it creates a problem. It looks like something dirty is going on. I have no idea what went on over there, and nor do I really want to. But the fact of the matter is, school board members in the district should be saying, this is the process. When somebody makes a complaint or a serious complaint, this is how we're going to investigate it. This is what we won't tolerate in this district and what will happen if somebody is found abusing those. But instead, there's this dead silence. We can't speak because there's an investigation going on. You can have it both ways. You don't have to talk about this particular coach or the situation.
Grandma, I've got to go to a break, but would you be willing to stick around and talk about another issue of government accountability?
I will do it as long as I don't have to sing with Max Wellman.
No. Nobody gets to sing with Max.
Okay.
Well, there's nobody in the studio, except maybe my bike. My bike might want to. My bike. Would you like to croon a little bit with Max Wellman? Wouldn't that be kind of fun for you?
I don't know about that.
All right. Well, you think about that. We'll see. We'll see what you say when you shows up, folks. Graham Gillette, my guest today. We're going to switch gears and talk about the city of Des Moines' decision to appropriate $100,000 to the Des Moines Partnership. The Des Moines Partnership is the nice, glossy way of saying Chamber of Commerce. This is apparently the fourth such appropriation at $100,000. We're going to talk about whether that's right. Maybe we disagree. Don't know. We haven't prepped this one. This is an open debate.
You'll be interested to find out.
All right, good. Folks, I'll be back in a few minutes, and you're welcome to join the conversation at 244-0077 or at my email address, fallonforum@gmail.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Tim Reynolds with Reynolds Energy Solutions will give you a comprehensive energy audit that will cost you nothing. Tim will identify the many ways in which you can reduce energy use while saving money. Ed Fallon had Tim over for an audit last month and was amazed at how much energy was going through the roof, the doors, and the windows. So, before the cold winds of winter blow, give Tim a call at 515-802-2801. That's 515-802-2801. Tim Reynolds with Reynolds Energy Solutions will give you a comprehensive energy audit that will cost you nothing. Tim will identify the many ways in which you can reduce energy use while saving money. Ed Fallon had Tim over for an audit last month and was amazed at how much energy was going through the roof, the doors, and the windows. So, before the cold winds of winter blow, give Tim a call at 515-802-2801. That's 515-802-2801.
With warm weather finally here, it's time to think about upgrading the efficiency of your furnace and air conditioner. Leonard Tinker Heating and Cooling has provided honest, competent service for over 20 years. Whether it's your home or business, for repair work or to install a more energy-efficient furnace or air conditioner, call Leonard Tinker at 263-0422. That's 263-0422. For honest, competent heating and cooling service, call Leonard Tinker at 263-0422.
Wow, some wedding.
Yeah, I've never seen a bride in coveralls.
Right, and skipping down the aisle to accordion music.
Not to mention the reception. That wedding cake was a freaking fruitcake.
It's your wedding. Don't leave anything to chance. Diana's Wedding Cakes. Using only the finest, freshest ingredients with free on-time delivery and setup. Choose one of Diana's custom designs or create your own. Call Diana's Wedding Cakes, 641-275-9279. That's 641-275-9279.
Well, hi, I'm Rob Spearman. I'm a broker-owner of RE/MAX Real Estate Concepts in Des Moines, Iowa. Give us a call if you're looking at buying or selling a home, or if you're having trouble on your mortgage payments or looking to purchase foreclosures. We have the agents to help you, experienced, outstanding agents. Our office number is 515-276-2872. Or if you'd like to look at homes, go to our website, homeconnectusa.com.
There is hope. Visit groundwire.net and chat now with a live coach for answers.
Oh my God, Becky, did you see her bumper?
I know she's had work done. Just last week, she had dimples and stuff all over, and now look.
Yeah, dimples and stuff. Yeah.
I'm Jamie Lasher from Minor Wreck Express. We're here to help with all the dents, dings, and drama of car ownership. Call 278-0101 or visit minorwreck.com for details. We'll see you in the fast lane.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Hey, you recognize that band?
No, what is it?
That is Mr. Neighbor. I conflated bands. I combined Brother Trucker and Baber's Neighbors. That would be a cool sound.
Maybe they could get it
together.
together.
That would be a really cool
Wouldn't
sound.
that be
But that is Baber's Neighbors, and they rock. They're a great group. Hey, this segment of our program, folks, is brought to you by Reynolds Energy Solutions. I don't know whether you've had an energy audit recently, Graham.
No, but we're in need of one. I've got an old house with leaky windows.
Tim Reynolds is your guy
All
here.
right.
Tim, this will cost you nothing. It will help this program. Tim has been a great supporter of this program. It will identify places where you are losing energy: doors, windows, the roof. Who knows? Who knows what else you got going on? But I was shocked
I've
at
got
how
it all
much
going on in
you've
my
got it
old
all
house.
going on. Well, you'll sleep better at night knowing that he's reduced your carbon footprint.
True.
And you'll save a bunch of money. So, folks, get this done anytime, really, but ideally before it gets too cold. Contact Tim Reynolds at 802-2801. That's 802-2801, or online at reynoldsenergysolutions.com. And give him a call before Graham does, because I'm sure Graham's going to just keep him there forever,
It'll
talking
be a
his ear
while.
off.
It'll be a while.
All right. So anyway, speaking of talking, there's always more content than there is time to discuss it. I get up this morning, I pour myself a strong cup of tea. I don't like coffee, I do tea. And the article that catches my attention more than anything is the city's decision to appropriate $100,000 to the local chamber of commerce. I don't know why that is government's responsibility, government reading me, you, our taxes, why that's our responsibility. That should be funded, in my opinion, by the member organizations, the businesses that control this private corporation. Maybe they do good things, but why is it our task to foot the bill? And this isn't just a one-time event. This is part of a $400,000 taxpayer commitment made by the city of Des Moines to one entity.
And you know, Ed, I was telling you during the break, they're not the only one. I have been a member of the Des Moines Waterworks Board for, I think, a little over a year now. And I found out that Des Moines Waterworks has been contributing to the partnership for a number of years at the tune of $50,000.
Why does, okay, you guys are about water.
That's right.
I mean, you're not about economic development, or
that's correct.
You don't necessarily want more businesses or residences, for that matter. You just want to provide healthy,
that is the
potable
exact
water.
question that I think we struggle with. At Des Moines Waterworks, our job is to provide clean, cheap water.
Right.
I mean, that's the simplest portion of our mission.
With emphasis on clean.
Yeah. This year we dialed back our donation to the partnership to $10,000 and are considering what to do going forward.
From 50.
From 50. And,
wow.
We had a discussion at the time. Matter of fact, leaders of the partnership came in and addressed us. They gave us a long list of others who contribute, the Des Moines City Council being the number one government entity. And there are a lot of businesses in town.
Does the Polk County Supervisors contribute as well?
I'd have to look back at my list, but I imagine they do.
And maybe the suburbs as well?
I know they do.
I don't get it.
The purpose is to bring business into the entity or into the area, which supposedly increases tax dollars and all those things. I think that we need to have a real debate among public entities about how we participate in any private organization, the partnership being one of them.
Yes, and also let's talk about what you just said, bringing businesses in. Mm-hmm. And those may be your words as well, but those are certainly the words that proponents of this kind of corporate welfare, let's call it corporate welfare, believe in. I mean, and really to me the focus should not be on bringing businesses in. let's help people locally who are committed to this community already realize their dream and make a living doing what they love doing.
I think it really, for me, it comes down to a real simple question. As a board member of the Des Moines Water Works, I need to evaluate if what we're doing meets our mission. And in my view, our mission is very small: clean, cheap water. I wasn't on the Des Moines Water Works board when it took over the Botanical Center, which is way outside of our mission.
Yeah.
And for years we have run the Botanical Center. Now the good news is that has a happy ending. Bunch of people in town raised a whole bunch of money.
Sure.
The end of this year, that's going to be managed by a private foundation, and over the next few years, Waterworks is going to step out.
That makes a lot of sense.
And that makes a lot of sense. It has a happy ending. How we got there was a bumpy, odd road that we took.
Because it was on the Des Moines River? Is that one of the rationales?
Actually, I think looking back, I think Des Moines Waterworks got a lot of political pressure from the city of Des Moines that had run that entity for a long time. The city was in financial troubles as they remain today.
Gee, I wonder why they're in financial troubles. Could it be things like, a $400,000 gift to a private corporation?
Maybe, but I'll tell you, transferring the Botanical Center from one troubled government entity to another government entity probably doesn't make a lot of sense.
And I noticed you didn't say to another troubled government entity, and that's because the Waterworks tends to be very solvent.
In my history, I rarely serve on a board where the word solvent is used. So I'm pleased to be on the Des Moines Waterworks. I've been on the Des Moines School Board, which we don't always use that word. But yeah, Des Moines Waterworks has been well run over the years. It is a well run entity. It's well respected nationally. We have a new CEO in Bill Stowe, who we did steal from the city.
No, he's still got the long hair.
He does have the long hair. We like that.
We would have trouble with Bill Stowe cutting his hair just to take a new position.
That's right. But I think you should have Bill on your show and have him talk about the future of Waterworks, because water in Des Moines, we have some things that we're going to have to work with. I mean, Waterworks is a regional entity. It serves the whole community. It is owned by the people of Des Moines. The question is, how do we go forward, and what should that relationship be with the suburbs over time? Those things are things that we should be talking about at Waterworks. Funding the partnership, building a park, doing some of these other things. Those are things that I think as board members we have to decide, are those our mission or not?
Well, and the city of Des Moines should be talking about, again, all the basic stuff: roads, sidewalks, bus service, street lamps.
You have all those things, businesses grow.
What?
You have all those things,
exactly. That's the key. You create a decent infrastructure, a great quality of life. We've got a good quality of life here in Des Moines. I mean, Grays Lake has been a tremendous addition to the recreational and cultural opportunities we have.
Look at some of the good things that have gone on in Des Moines. The Botanical Garden being one of them. A group of people come together, they raise a lot of money, they take that private. It's going to be a fantastic entity. Look at the small things that have happened in Des Moines. The flowers on Fleur, the flowers downtown.
Well, the concerts,
those things things are generally driven by interested, community-minded people.
Right. And providing there's a good infrastructure in place to accommodate them.
And so what you want to do is create an environment to do that. And just while we're talking about Waterworks, let me expand on that. Waterworks owns the biggest piece of land, biggest park, bigger than Central Park in an urban area.
I thought it was second to Central Park.
Maybe second. Right. Let me not over-exaggerate here. But the point is, it's a beautiful piece of property. If we're going to do something there, we're going to create something better. We're going to beautify it. We're going to build something there. I'm all for it. But the question is, should Waterworks be the one that funds that process and manages it? Or should we turn it over to an entity that is better capable of doing it?
The latter.
Yeah, and that's my position. Yeah. Now, Waterworks should always own that land, because we do use that land and hold that land for the production of water.
Yeah,
and so we're going to hold on to that land, but there's no reason why we couldn't create a lease agreement, $1 a year, to an interested entity.
And I will say, I think Waterworks has done a very, very good job with that property.
I love that park.
I mean, you've had some issues with flooding. I remember watching huge segments of road just like lifted. The floodwaters were so powerful a couple years ago. They just lifted these vast sections of highway up or road up and just deposited them. I don't know.
Unfortunately, this year we have the opposite problem. We have a river that's drying up, and that's going to be a real problem. And over the next couple of years,
a continued problem.
This drought is projected to keep going for a little while, and that's going to cause a real problem.
But my point there was that you fixed that. That was good. It was fixed. And I know there were some changes made to the large open area where you have lots of concerts and jamborees and whatnot.
Right.
At first I was wondering, is moving all that dirt around really going to improve this open space? And it did. It is better. And there's one thing you didn't do that I'm really happy you didn't do. There were some private individuals who wanted to basically turn a big part of the waterworks into a golf course. And they tried to paint it as something for poor kids, for minority kids.
Right.
And I'm thinking, well, are you just afraid to have, small small kids from the hood show up at your private golf course, or what's the deal here?
In my view, there's nothing better than the open space that is at Waterworks.
Yeah.
For us to preserve that. Now, maybe there's some things that we can put in there to help people enjoy the outdoors a little more.
Yeah.
I don't think a golf course is the right one, Ed, but maybe it's just because I'm a terrible golfer.
No.
But the fact of the matter is we have a real, and this is an overused word, but a real jewel in that park.
Yeah.
And so the question is, how do we preserve it? How do we make sure that people use it to its maximum?
I do think it would be a good idea to get the Frisbee golf course back, because that's innocuous.
You sound like my brother.
Well,
My brother loves a Frisbee
but
golf course.
you changed nothing. I mean, it was there.
Right.
I don't know why they took it down the flood, maybe.
Right.
But okay, we're beyond that. Hopefully.
All right. Let's hope.
But it is already, that space is there. Let's put the cages back up.
And so those
Can you get on that for me?
Oh, I'll get right on it.
Yeah. But back to the city.
Yep.
I mean, only Brian Meyer, that I can tell, is speaking out in opposition to this $100,000 gift to the Chamber of Commerce. He calls it misguided spending. He says, quote, "I think in the budget situation that we're in, that this is money that could have been spent better elsewhere."
Let me...
I don't disagree with that at all, and I really am surprised that this doesn't get more opposition among the rank and file citizens.
Well, and this is why I'm kind of glad that this issue has come to the table, because as a member of Waterworks, as I say, we've had this discussion.
Right.
And I'll use a good relationship that we have with the partnership. When we were doing our search for the CEO, we worked with the partnership. Partly because a lot of us on the board said, we've given them $10,000. Maybe this is an opportunity to get some return.
Or 50.
In the past we had. This year we gave them 10. But we did work and had a really nice relationship with the partnership when we were doing that search for CEO. Now, we did a national search. We actually ended up bringing in 4 finalists from out of town, and we hired Bill Stowe, who was down the street.
Mm-hmm.
But
so in other words, you wasted a lot of money.
No, not at all.
Well,
I think that national search made sense because we had a lot of great candidates, and it helped us think about what we wanted.
What'd you spend on it altogether?
About $20,000.
Okay.
But really, we had LD McMullen, who was the CEO of Waterworks for a long time. Randy Beavers, who was his lieutenant, held the position for the last 6 years. We've had a lot of people internally, and I think it was probably time for us to make that broader search as we decide how we're going to approach these problems.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, so I think the search is worthwhile. I'll defend that.
But you're saying in the context of this conversation that the partnership was helpful.
They were helpful because they worked with us. They helped us put together a community reception, if you will, when we had these candidates in. They invited people. They were a co-host of that. To me, that type of thing, that's a good relationship.
Yeah, but I'm not sure it's worth the 50-50. I mean, how many hundreds of thousands of dollars has Waterworks given to the partnership over the years?
Well, I'd have to look at that. That's an interesting question. But the real thing is your question, and it's the one that we need to address, is giving money, taking money that comes into Waterworks. In our view, we get paid by ratepayers. In the city, they get paid by taxpayers. Using that money to fund the partnership, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I want Des Moines to be the most vibrant community it can be. The question is, do Waterworks dollars, do city dollars, should they go to the certain activities that partnership does? Yeah. That's the discussion we need to have, and that's the discussion the partnership needs to leave. They need to come out and defend themselves. Yeah.
And maybe more of us little business guys and gals should join the partnership, because my impression is it's an organization that's very much dominated by a handful of very, very big players in downtown, and maybe some big players out west in West Des Moines. And I'm. As a legislator, I can tell you I was rarely pleased with what the partnership was trying to accomplish. Things like the insurance premium tax cut, which took $40 million, I think, out of this, or maybe more than that, actually. I can't remember now. It was a big chunk of change, millions and millions out of the state treasury.
Sounds to me
for basically a subsidy to the insurance industry. It wasn't something that people ended up seeing in their premiums in terms of a reduction. It helped the corporation.
Sounds to me, Ed, like you have a show for next week. There's 2 new leaders over the partnership, and Jay Byers and Gene Myers, and I think you should invite them to be on the show, and I think that they should come and they should talk about this. If they are interested, in which I believe they are, they're good guys. If they're interested in growing and creating the Des Moines of the future, they should come talk to you. They should hit this as you head out.
And again, I'm not saying they don't do good things at all. I don't mean to say that at all.
I think they do good things. I will say they do good things. Yeah. The question is, should public entities be the funders? And that is the question that's on the table.
Yeah, and also, should they be pushing the legislature for tax breaks for some of their bigger members, as they did with the example I gave? But anyway, yeah, good idea. I will make a note to give Jay a call and see if he could join us next week or sometime in the near future.
There you go.
Graham Gillette has been my guest. He has survived another stint with me, and likewise.
That means we get to have lunch. Let's go to Gateway and have lunch.
We didn't come to fisticuffs, so that's good. Max Wellman will be with us next. Max is back in town and crooning his tunes.
I'm not singing with him.
No, we're not going to let you sing with him. Okay. Don't even think about it. Maybe my bike will sing with Max. We'll find out when we come back after this break.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Well, good morning. This is the 7th of June in the Lord's year 2010, and this is day 1 of WebcastOneLive.com. We will begin with Max World Live with my special guest, Tom Coates. In just a minute, there's Tom. Wait. Howdy. And we will be live for the very first time on Webcast One Live. Someday we're going to look back on this and say, gosh, remember that old day in history? Wonder where Walter Cronkite was. He must have been around hanging there too. But actually, it's the beginning of Webcast One Live. And thank you for listening. Thanks, Rob Spearman, and everybody who's put together this project together. And we're ready to go live now. So thanks for listening to MaxWorldLive.com.
I can't tell you that it's going real well from time to time, but it is going.
Hi, folks. It's Ed Fallon here. Proof Restaurant at 13th and Locust. You've probably been there for their award-winning, nationally recognized lunch specials. Well, now Proof is open Thursdays and Fridays for supper. And here's where the chefs really get creative. Let me tell you, they're like artists, okay? I've been there, and it is one of the best meals I have had in Des Moines. I've heard that from other people. You got to check it out. Proof for supper, Thursdays and Fridays, and also the second Saturday of the month. Do not assume you can get in. Make reservations. Contact Proof Restaurant online at proofrestaurant.com or 244-0655. That's 244-0655. Hi, folks. Ed Fallon here. When it is time to entertain, think of Gateway Market. Let them handle the details. Gateway offers a wide variety of stress-free options like cut-to-order cheese and charcuterie. There's a delicious olive bar and a wide variety of chef-prepared dips and spreads. Or let the catering team take care of the entire event, right down to the wine and beer pairings. The expert floral designers can even customize the perfect centerpieces. So stop by or visit Gateway Market for more information. Gateway is at Woodland and ML King in downtown Des Moines. Good food, great entertaining.
Nestled in the heart of downtown, Ritual Cafe is one of Des Moines' most unique places, offering a wide variety of coffee and tea. Ritual Cafe also serves the only all-vegetarian menu in town. And Ritual Cafe is a cultural hub for artists and musicians, with a performance stage hosting local, national, and international talent. Make Ritual Cafe a part of your daily ritual. On 13th Street between Locust and Grand in downtown Des Moines. And check out ritualcafe.com.
I love driving to Newton to see the races.
Me too, but I only have to drive across town.
You live in Newton?
Yep, Newton's got small town charm and it's close to Des Moines. I love the safe, friendly neighborhoods and family-owned businesses. And Newton's wind energy industry is really taking off.
How'd you find your home?
Dan Kelly with First Choice Realty. And Dan helped me find my office too.
Next time, instead of just speeding by, I'll stop in and check out Newton.
Why don't you check out Newton? Call Dan Kelly at 641-521-9260 or Dan Kelly at mchsi.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
That is Pumptown, and this segment of our program brought to you by Proof Restaurant. Pumptown is a band from Ringgold County, Max.
All right.
And Max
Great.
Wellman with me, folks, is a fantastic musician from Des Moines, Iowa.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Proudly from Des Moines.
And
Des
we're gonna play a selection of your music here later in the program. But I'd love to. I mean, you may not know. I think my bike actually has a pretty darn good voice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
That's pretty unique, Ed.
Well, I don't think about it. I'm biking along. I don't have a radio. I don't have a stereo. And
So your
sometimes
bike
I get
sings to
tired
you?
of singing to myself, and then my bike will sing. But bike, would you be willing to sing with Max at all? Or are you just not up for it today?
Max does not know the banana song, so I don't think that it's going to work out.
The banana song is your favorite song?
I think so.
Okay, we got to broaden your repertory a bit there.
No.
Maybe.
I think I need to spend some time with your bike.
Okay, well, all right. Hey, what do you think? You want to take a spin with Max?
Does he know the banana song?
No, but you're going to teach him. That's
No.
why you go for a ride. You teach him the banana song, and the next time he's on the show, you guys do a duet.
Sure.
Okay. Anyway, folks, that's my bike, the amazing singing bike. But again,
That's
only
incredible.
one tune. It is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Only one tune. I mean, we can do better than that.
Definitely.
Now, you're back in Des Moines. You and most people know that you left for a bit.
Yeah, I left for a bit a few different times. It's been an interesting couple of years, to say the least, I think.
How much of that are you willing to talk about?
I'm an open book.
Okay.
I'll talk about any of it.
Me too, and it gets me in trouble once in a while.
Yeah,
So,
me too.
just kind of the
Sure.
summary of what's been happening.
All right. Well, I got to this point here in Des Moines where things were going very well. I was performing pretty regularly and in good concert halls around the central Iowa region.
Great turnout.
Yeah, it was. Things were really
and you were
going
singing
very well.
Singing with Roxy Copeland, your teacher.
Yes. It was a great time, and I was looking for something different, and I wasn't quite sure where to go. I was also in college at Butler University in Indianapolis, a very fine school, and I loved that. But I was thinking about this the other day because I saw the movie that just went into the varsity, liberal arts. It's kind of nothing too crazy deep, but focuses on that time following college, while you're in college and then afterwards. And I just thought to myself, I loved school while I was there, but I didn't really get this full-on escape from reality that some people get when they go to study, because I was always being pulled back out by my work. And it was a good thing, but eventually led me to leave the university.
Before you were finished?
Yes.
Well, before you graduated?
Yes.
Yep. You got fans going by out here?
No, I wouldn't say fans.
Oh.
I hate that word. No.
Hey, Maddie,
no.
can you lock the door so the police can't come in and take Max away from us? Okay, good.
What was I saying? Anyway, I went to Atlanta on it was pretty much on a whim.
Yeah, and you had to say, you went to Atlanta, and Roxy Copeland went to Vancouver, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And now she is in Milwaukee, and I'm back in Des Moines. And I also spent some more time in Indianapolis in between.
So you went to Atlanta and Indianapolis, and how did
Yeah.
and did it not work out for you? Or?
It definitely did. Atlanta was, a very different time in my life than anything else that I had been through. It was
big city.
Yes, and I loved that part of it. I loved living.
Des Moines is the cultural and culinary crossroads of the continent. We're pretty cool. We're pretty exceptional.
Yes.
We're big when it comes to cool stuff, but Atlanta
Like
is
singing bikes.
huge. Like singing bikes.
Yes, Atlanta, huge.
Yeah,
and
huge.
you
A
know,
big market.
I was fortunate to. I moved down there with my girlfriend who was studying at Georgia State. She's a singer herself, and we were lucky enough to find this a beautiful place to live in Midtown Atlanta. And it just seemed like we had a whole different kind of world down there compared to everything else that we had been through, and it was great. Musically, I wasn't doing anything earth-shattering down there. It's very difficult to break into a scene like that quickly, So it was definitely, I was busy, and got to soak in a lot of new music and meet some very fine musicians and do some performing.
I did something somewhat similar, actually. I finished 2 years of college in Vermont back in my 20s, teens, 20s, and had gotten involved with musical theater.
Okay.
I directed a production of Jacques Brel and also wrote some music for A Streetcar Named Desire.
Wow.
Did a few other things, and I was loving it. And I had a girlfriend at the time who was a singer, and we decided to move to Boston to try our luck at the scene. And we got some work. You do the 10 to 2 stint at a piano bar.
Yeah.
And I, having done that a number of times, I'm not sure there's any musical experience that is more depressing than playing at a piano bar.
You're right.
Where the drunks are actually just hanging on the piano, telling you you're the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
And
that they're wrong because they're so drunk.
And it doesn't matter what you sound like.
And we finally got a really, really good gig. And then I got a really, really bad case of the flu. I mean, I was literally, I got to go do this gig. And I sat down at my piano to say, I can still do this gig, even though I've got 101-degree fever and feel like crap warmed over. And I started playing, and I'm like, oh, no, I can't do this gig. I cannot do this gig.
Well, what do you do in a situation like that?
Well,
I've been there. You have to try and push through, and, every once in a while.
Yeah, and I have been able to, but that case it did not happen.
Yeah.
What I ended up doing was going to Berklee College of Music, which I hated with a passion.
Oh, really?
It's a good school if you fit their mold.
I looked
very
at
narrow
that school,
mold,
and it definitely seemed that way to me.
Yeah.
Here's where things ended up in Atlanta. I finally got this great opportunity at this club, a very nice new restaurant that had just opened up downtown, and it was going to be a new, hot thing, and they wanted to do music.
Nice.
And I'd been going around. I was hitting the town every day, trying to get hired by different, hotel restaurants and different clubs around town and everything. You have to get creative because the staple gigs in a town, the places where you go to hear jazz, that those gigs are taken, and the locals will fight, tooth and nail for those.
They'll slash your tires if
you don't have a chance at that. So you have to try to create your own kind of thing.
Yes.
And that's true no matter where you're at.
Yeah.
But I landed this gig. It was very lucky, very fortunate. And then it happened, this was probably 6 weeks before I moved or something like that. I had just been back in Des Moines for a week and a half or so doing a show. And I got back down there and went down to this place. It was called the Cafe Intermezzo. And I was dropping off some posters and things. We'd gotten all this stuff printed. And I had booked musicians for this 10-week run to start the restaurant off. And so I'd really put my name on the line with these people.
Right.
And a new owner had come into the fold for
at the
this
last
place.
minute?
Yes.
Wow.
Apparently, it was the daughter of someone that owned. I don't know. It was a complicated ownership group kind of thing. And this girl came in and said, I don't want to do music. Don't want to do it.
Oh, gosh. And you hadn't signed a contract?
No, it was one of those situations. Wow. I do everything under contract. However, that's a sticky situation too, because people hold on to contracts all the time. And 90% of the time, it's just they don't get to it. They don't whatever. And you have to decide as an artist what you're going to be a stickler about and whatnot.
So did you shake the dust off your sandals and said, heck with this, I'm going to Indianapolis? Or at least
pretty much, yeah. I had one more year where my scholarships were good at Butler, and Katie, my girlfriend, got offered this job in Indianapolis. All this stuff kind of happened very quickly. She became managing director of a small theater company in Indy, and I decided, well, I'll try, if we're going to be in Indianapolis, I'll try the school thing again. Yeah. And I tried arts administration, and I could have done it, but I hated it. I thought to myself, the last thing in the world, I've never been able to think of something that I want to do that isn't what I'm doing right now.
And that's how I feel about my work as well. And I personally, I'm sorry it didn't work out. I'm glad it didn't work out.
No, me too.
We're delighted to have you back in Des Moines.
Right. So this
very
probably
talented.
all sounded depressing, but, it ended up to where I was actually getting a lot of good work in Indianapolis, and that was great. But my business partner up here, Dave Rezick, he's like my music director also, a very fine trumpet player and composer. We got to this point, there were a few opportunities that came up where it was like, we got to either decide to go this extra mile and raise the bar and make it happen, or kind of scrap and start something new.
Well,
and we're going for it. And so that led to the move back here, and it took a little bit of settling in and everything. I don't think I would have been as okay with it a couple of years ago coming back here, but now I feel very good about it and excited.
Let's play a selection from one of your CDs. What's it called, Max?
Well, this is a little excerpt from my songbook project, which some people subscribe to, and they get discs sent to them about every month, a new composer. And this is a George Gershwin disc, and I think we're going to play... What are we going to play, Bike? What's that second track? Does that lady be good?
I think so.
My bike can not only sing, it can
well, this will be a little bit of
a recording device,
an education for you.
Okay, and we'll just play a little bit of it because we're almost out of time. So just give folks a taste of what this is about.
Oh, sweet and lovely lady, be good. Oh, lady, be good to me. I am so awfully misunderstood. So, lady, be good to me. Oh, please have some pity. I'm all alone in this big city. I tell you, I'm just a lonesome babe in the wood. So, lady, be good to me.
You got a great voice, Max. You got a great voice, and I'm delighted to have you back in town.
Oh, thank you.
Now, what's your next? What do your next couple of performances look like? If folks want to come,
well,
check
we've got
out.
a lot of exciting stuff coming up. Unfortunately, fortunately, it all kind of starts up with the new year. But the next big thing is my 3rd annual Home for the Holidays concert, which I'm proud to say will be taking place at the Des Moines Social Club this year.
Cool. At the current location, that's
yes, in that ballroom. Yep. We're bringing someone in to deck the place out as kind of like an old school
balls
lounge.
and holly and that sort of thing.
Yeah. No, it's going to be beautiful. And that'll be the debut for my new 7-piece band.
Great.
We'll be releasing some announcements about this in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and are you playing regularly anytime in the near future?
Not really. I'm on purpose. I'm putting together this new band, and I want that all to be very ready to go.
Well, if you need an accordion player, you know who to call.
Yes, I do.
All right. And if you need somebody to sing, if you ever decide to do the banana song, and you need somebody to provide harmony, my bike is at your service.
I can't make any promises about that.
All right. And probably my bike doesn't want me to commit to her to that either.
Hey.
So, all right. Hey, folks, thank you so much for joining us today on the Fallon Forum. We've got a busy week coming up. Well, it's already Tuesday, but looking ahead real quick, tomorrow, Wednesday, Ken Herring is going to join us. He's a Democratic candidate for the Iowa House. His Republican opponent declined to come in and join a debate format. Unfortunate. So we'll give Ken a chance to talk about why he is running. Also, Kelly Gerling with the People's Congress will be calling in to join us for a conversation about what's happening with the People's Congress. Thursday, we're going to talk nuclear power with Nathaniel Baer in light of Mid-American revealing that their targeted counties for a possible nuclear power plant include Fremont and Muscatine. Friday, we're going to talk with another candidate for the Iowa House, this time a Republican whose Democratic opponent refused to return calls or answer emails. That'll be Joe Corbin, who's running in the northeast part of the city of Des Moines. We've got plenty of other issues we want to dig into in between those segments this week. Lots of election stuff happening. I will at some point be giving you an update on my situation with the Leonard Boswell lawsuit. But let me just say, if you like what I'm doing here and you want to help me keep moving forward, you should consider that I'm going to have very, very significant legal bills, and you should go to my website, the Fallon Forum, click on support, and do your part to help the Fallon Legal Defense Fund. And yeah, there will be more coming up on this soon. We'll be releasing a statement shortly about how we intend to respond to that lawsuit. Also, of course, lots of conversation to have about the presidential election, which got closer. Compliments of a dismal performance, debate performance by Barack Obama. And that, I still would say Obama is probably going to win Iowa, but there's plenty more to talk about because there's a lot of details in between that statement and reality. So, folks, thanks again for joining us. Hey, go to my website, too, because later this week I will be releasing a gift certificate to a Leonard Tinker Heating and Cooling furnace check. That's a good thing to have this time of the year. I also want to thank Proof Restaurant. Proof is the sponsor of this final segment of our program, and Proof is an excellent restaurant. Don't know if you've been there, Max.
Very, very good.
Fantastic lunches, but also they're doing dinner now. Mm-hmm. It was just Friday, Saturday. Now it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And again, oftentimes you won't be able to get in because it's booked. But check out Proof Wednesday, Thursday night. There's still got plenty of openings, and again, the chefs are doing a fantastic job. Mm-hmm. Highly recommend you take the whole family, in fact, to Proof. Mm-hmm. Anyway, yes. Folks, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. And in the meantime, Bradshaw will be joining you in just a little bit here on the Webcast One live in downtown Des Moines.
I'm just saying. 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 Ching ching. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Feeling alone? God knows and He understands. Chat now with someone who cares at groundwire.net.
Well, hi, I'm Rob Spearman. I'm a broker-owner of RE/MAX Real Estate Concepts in Des Moines, Iowa. Give us a call if you're looking at buying or selling a home, or if you're having trouble on your mortgage payments or looking to purchase foreclosures. We have the agents to help you, experienced, outstanding agents. Our office number is 515-276-2872. Or if you'd like to look at homes, go to our website, homeconnectusa.com.
Hi, I'm J. Michael McCoy, and about 20 years ago, I went to a used car salesman by the name of John Hewitt. He had a little shop over there on North 2nd Avenue called John's Auto Sales, and I bought a car. I found that experience to be one that I had never had before from a used car salesman. He was honest, he was dependable, he had integrity, and he did what he said he was going to do. Well, over the years, between my kids and grandkids, I purchased 7 vehicles from John's Auto Sales. And last month, I asked him to be a sponsor. And he said not only would he like to be a sponsor, but he would offer a $100 tithe for every customer that came and bought a car from him directly to the church of your choice. I can tell you about their huge selection. I can tell you about their years of experience. I can tell you about their honest integrity. But all I really need to tell you is that I bought 7 cars, and you can trust them. John's Auto Sales, 5435 2nd Avenue, Des Moines.
You need a good ride when you hit the trail. Trust the man with the cars, and he goes by the name of Big John. Big John. Big John. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.